All right. Talk about what you learned in this book.
I learned that people cannot predict earthquakes. They occur like not without a warning, and I learned what's the Richter thing. The Richter, it was a thing that measures the earthquake. It was called the Richter, I guess. And
Okay.
I learned how it works. Like when the ground shakes, the pen draws some lines, and that people can predict. People can measure the power of the earthquake. And I learned how, like, what was the strongest, most powerful earthquake since like 1960, I guess. And yeah.
Okay. What causes earthquakes?
When the tectonic plates, the mantle, which is like in a stream, like it's like flowing around, it can move the tectonic plates, and when they get moved, they shift, which makes the ground shake and all this stuff.
Talk about all the kinds of earthquakes that have happened.
When you say kind, like what kind?
So, like, what are the, where do earthquakes happen? And
Yeah. From the book, I remember one happened in California. One happened in San Francisco, February 18th, 1930. Was it? Yeah. One happened in Alaska, in Indonesia, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. So, of these earthquakes, do all of them cause destruction?
Some of them can like shake the ground and like, it depends what power it is. If it's like 3.0 or something, it will just like shake the ground a little bit, and yeah. But if it's like more than 6.0, it will probably cause destruction.
So if it's 6, it'll probably cause destruction. I just want to make sure I got
Yeah.
that. Yeah, okay, thank you. Look at the diagram on page 3. Talk about what that shows.
That shows the plate tectonics and how they shift and move. And yeah, this diagram shows like what happens, like the pressure. Because of the pressure, the plate tectonics get moved like that. So moved, like it shows here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell me about what you learned in the book?
I also learned that like earthquakes also can be famous. Like I know one famous earthquake. It was in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
The April 18th, 1906.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay. How do you know that one?
I got it from the book.
You remember reading? Okay.
Yeah, I remember it from the book.
Okay. I'm going to keep going with some more questions. What is a fault line and why is it important? So first you can just say, what is a fault line?
A fault line is a crack like on the Earth's crust caused by like plate movements, plate tectonic movements.
And why do you think it's important?
Because like if like the fault line, it's kind of a crack between the two tectonics. It's important, like as if like why is it important so that happens, or like
why is it important that we know about fault lines?
Oh, because otherwise, if we didn't know about it, we would have. We didn't have like a little chance of predicting earthquakes and all those stuff. Now we now we have a little chance of. We have chances to be prediction the earthquakes, but if we didn't know like what the fault line was and all those stuff, we'd be like, that's just a crack in the ground and that's it. It's nothing that important, even though it's really important. That can cause destruction and those stuff.
Okay, so that's why it's important. Why is it so hard to help people avoid the danger of earthquakes?
Because people, even scientists, don't know when that will happen, why that will happen, where that will happen, and that's why it's hard for them to evacuate people earlier. And yeah, and when like they obviously notice it during the earthquake.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's gonna be hard because like airports are closed because of the earthquakes, planes don't fly, and people are like stuck in the city with an earthquake.
Okay. Why do scientists need to let me start that again. What do scientists need to discover about earthquakes?
When like how could you is there if there is a warning of an earthquake, like if the earthquakes warns them like before it happens, like for example like the ground shakes a bit and then like the ground a little bit cracks, so now like everything's good and then like suddenly a building falls, like a little bit ground shakes and then like a little crack and then they notice that's yeah.
Okay. Just a couple more and then we're finished. Describe each section of the book so you can.
So the first one was the introducing the book, how like what are earthquakes, what are the science that discover the earthquakes, and yeah, that's the introducing page.
Okay.
The second page shows the machine, the thing that shows earthquakes. They show that, they talk about it, they explain what that is, how it works, and like half of the page is talking about that and the other half is leading to the third page. So what causes earthquakes, how earthquakes happen, why do they happen, and the third page it finishes up the second half of the second page, and then it talks like about the plate tectonics and yeah, and like the last like paragraph it shows like the most famous earthquakes and the earthquakes that are most in history, and yeah. So and on the last page they're still continuously showing the famous earthquakes, and there's a graph, the largest earthquakes since like 1960, and it shows the numbers that it showed in earlier pages. At page 2 about how the machine works and the numbers that show the power. At page 4 it shows the graph that with the numbers of the most powerful earthquakes. And at the last paragraph of the whole book, it says like how could scientists predict earthquakes, which and there it said like scientists cannot predict earthquakes like fully, like say that 100% there's going to be an earthquake. They can't even predict, but in the future maybe they could more do more predictions and find out how to predict earthquakes.
Okay. So when you're thinking about the book and how the author set the book up, what are the different sections? Just what are the different sections of it?
So sections like, what differences do both of the pages have? Like, for like, what difference? What's the difference between those two pages, or something like that?
Okay. So those are the pages. What are the? How did the author kind of break up the information within the text?
Oh, first,
You don't need to talk about what the information is, but how did the author, he or she, break up the information within the text?
He did it in an order. Like first the introduction to like hook you up in the book, and then he started talking about the numbers and the measurements. So later on in the book, he could like not tell. For example, like here he told about the thing. For later on in the book, he could like. So I'd say like he's teaching his own like language, and at the end of the book, he can use his own language.
Okay.
Like not like language, but yeah.
All right. What are some of the descriptive words or phrases the writer uses to show the impact of the earthquake?
Tremors. I heard one of those.
Okay, yeah, you can use your book.
Also, like, he obviously uses earthquakes, and he used the descriptive word. It was somewhere in here. It was. I guess it was. Wait, I just find it. Well, I guess tremors is the last, like the most descriptive word, because
To show the impact of earthquakes?
Yeah.
Tremors is the biggest word?
yeah, because it's also like in the glossary, and like some people don't know the meaning of the tremors.
Okay, so they put it back there. Are there
Yeah.
any other words in there that help you know what the impact of earthquakes are?
I guess like
Besides tremors.
Jolted.
Okay.
Like jolted. Like it says a major earthquake jolted
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco,
Okay.
and I think that's a powerful word, but they didn't write it in glossary, so probably tremors is like more detailed, and then not like detailed, like more powerful
Okay.
for the book. And I guess that's it for the descriptive words.
Okay. Well, you know, when we were doing this, the whole thing started to shake. It was kind of like we were on, the camera was in its own, it looks like it's in its own little earthquake.
Yeah.